I come from Kenya, a very small village in Kisumu called Kano. Growing up in a village was really, really challenging when I was a little kid. I grew up with there was no running water, there was no electricity. My father, who is deceased now, was a school teacher, a very community man. My mom is a retired school teacher and taught for over 22 years. And we have 5 siblings living in a village where my parents were both having jobs and their income was still very, very below poverty level. Could not afford to feed us, could not afford to send us to school. There was a cycle of poverty that was broken for me because I received a chance for education. Anna Lansson, a lady from Sweden, really dedicated her life to give me a chance for education. This lady single-handedly paid for my schooling from 2nd grade to 2 years of college when she passed away. I cannot thank her enough for literally breaking that cycle of poverty in my life through giving me a chance for education. Coming to Oklahoma from Kenya was a really, really big open door for my life. A group of us came from Kenya to Oklahoma City for internship program. It was basically an exchange program. We were supposed to be empowered to be really great leaders of tomorrow of our community. Being here in Oklahoma City showed me of a bigger impact of what I can be in my own village. Unfortunately, I had to go back because my dad passed away. I had not gone back in the village for quite some time. And literally when I went back to the village, going and seeing the devastation of how the village where I came from looked, I was not the same. Poverty, kids were dirty. They were not healthy, they were starving, they were not in school. I could not just sit back and watch what people are going through. That is when my light just lit up and said that I can do something. God has equipped me to make a difference in my village. Am I gonna do it or not? My mom was always feeding kids and I wanted to help. I jumped on board to help the small feeding program she was doing from her house. And we cooked for almost 100 kids. We were cooking under a tree. Literally when it rains, there was no food being served. From that humble beginning, that small feeding program became Maisha Project, which today is an organization that empowers Kenyans to transform their own communities.
What I saw when I first went to Kenya was an incredible beauty and spirit of the people, and something that we had lost touch with here.
I went to Maisha with B in 2008, the first time I'd ever left the country. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was just a kid that wanted to help this awesome Kenyan lady I met make some videos about what she was doing in her village. As I walked through the village with B, and there were no permanent structures there. We couldn't really communicate very well because no one could speak English, and it was beautiful how the joy and the love you saw in everyone's lives and how hopeful they were amidst some really tough situations.
They took that, it takes a village, to a whole nother level. Relationally, it takes a village also. And they embraced that so well. So we knew we had to address everything on a community level, not just with one child.
The need just continued from one need to the other. Everything we did was being built to make better the community. The first thing we ever built here was Water is Life came on board and helped us drill a water well that is still to date serving the community. Then we built a madhouse kitchen. You students were here and was building it with the kids. Then we built a toilet just for good sanitation. And then the first permanent building we ever put there is the community center. This community center today serves, it's our dining hall, it serves as an empowerment. We are doing our tailoring department there. We also have computer lab upstairs of it. From there, we built a medical clinic that today serves over 300 people a month. You also find that we've improved our kitchen from what it was to this beautiful paradise kitchen that you see. We put up a very, very awesome Maisha Academy that is also serving the community. We are really, really providing quality education to these kids here in the heart of the village. We have put a really great sanitation, septic, 10 stalls toilet, and I think over 500-600 people use it daily. We are putting up a Maisha girls dormitory to provide a safe haven for our girls that are at risk. We are also renovating the field. These are just some of the improvements that have been really developed to make the life of the people we are serving awesome.
In the 10 years of all the projects we've done, we've really narrowed down the message to 5 projects. Number 1, education. Number 2 is health. Number 3 is economic empowerment. The other 2 are infrastructure, which is the buildings and the improvements we've made. And then the 5th project is missions. It's how people around the world have engaged to carry our mission and our vision forward.
All around, we are constantly busy making sure that what we are touching, we can leave the community thriving, because that is our ultimate goal. So for the Maisha story, truly, I can sit here and smile today because we have kids that are growing up in our program that don't know what it feels like to drink dirty water, that don't know what it feels like to go without food.
And so I cannot believe what I've seen God do and what I've seen happen in the nearly 10 years since I first went, to see what God's done through the community of people in Kenya and in Oklahoma and around the world to really step by step transform a community.
There's something about what Maisha is doing in this community that stands out. You can actually see the change that's happening. It's incredible to see everything that's happened and everything that's changed in that community.
So when Maisha started, we only had about 10 kids in school. And today, 10 years later, we have about 1,000 kids that we are supporting or have come through our program. Our goal is not to see this number increase to 10,000 in 10 years. Our goal is to equip and empower this community of young kids that God has brought our way to be self-reliant.
In the last 10 years, we've brought the community to a place where there's a level of health, there's a level of education, there's a level of economic empowerment in place, and we want to take that over the next 10 years and really bring a component where they can do it themselves. The goal is to move into a place of sustainability.
We want to see these kids, when they have their own families, don't depend on a program. We want them to have jobs so that they can be able to provide for their own family. We want them to educate their own kids. We want men growing up from this village who are respectful of their wives and wants to have pride in their family's life.
We've stemmed the tide of systemic poverty in the first 10 years, and we want to bring a key component in of thriving, and that sustainability factor really comes through economic empowerment. That project is going to launch us into this next 10 years in a meaningful way, and the community is ready now that their needs have been met to move into this next phase.
But I want to boldly sit here and say that in 10 years, I would like to see Maisha kicked out from this community so that families are doing themselves. We have to empower them. We have to give them the tools they need. We have to give them a hand up so that they can do it themselves.
To everyone that's been involved and to everyone who's stuck it out for the long term, thank you, because this story and all the stuff that's happening is because of a very large group of people.
I just like to say thank you to everyone. No matter what your level of involvement is with Maisha, it really is making a difference and lives are truly being changed.
It takes a village, and you are the village. The people that have believed in what we are currently touching in this community. I cannot say thank you enough. I can't call you all by name, but all I know is that God knows every single one of you.